那接下来要介绍的是 vocus 的 Mobile Product Leader YC 旭，他热衷于为创造者打造令人惊艳且具影响力的产品。那刚刚提到的，我们今天演讲是英文来进行的哦，让我们欢迎 YC， 谢谢。
Okay, hello everyone. My name is YC and I'm from vocus, which is 方格子. And I'm very happy to be here as one of the speakers at iPlayground. And a couple months ago, I went to Tokyo for the Tri-Share Tokyo conference. And I was so inspired by all the sessions and all the people I met there. So after that, I was like, what if I could share our journey of adopting TCA in our production app? And not only for Taiwanese audience, but also for people from other countries. So that's why I'm here, and that's why I choose to give this talk in English. So I hope you guys enjoy my sharing, and also enjoy all the great sessions during these 2 days. Okay, so first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is YC, or you can call me Yiqing. I'm currently the mobile product lead at vocus. So I'm product manager now, but I'm also an iOS developer. And I've been working with TCA for over 1.5 years, including a personal side project called Check-in Box and 2 production apps. And I was deeply involved in building the whole foundation of our vocus iOS code base as well. We are building product for creator economy, which is we are helping creators to find their 1,000 true fans on our platform so that the creators can publish their own work, mostly our articles, engage with their fans, and monetize their content, which we call it 内容变现 or 知识变现. And actually, we have a website, but we don't have a mobile app yet. So we're going to launch our iOS app in Q4 this year, hopefully. And of course, we are building this app with Swift UI, TCA, and Twist, which is an S-Code project management tool. And I will focus more on TCA in today's sharing. So back to my topic today, I'm going to share what we learned from building a production app with TCA. And I would like to start with this simple question. What is the difference between building a personal app and building a production app? From my perspective, there are 3 differences. So let me show you. The first difference is the mental model. So when it's your side project, you are the only one developer, right? So you are the iOS developer, you are the product manager, you are the backend engineer, so you know everything, you can do whatever you want, everything lives in your head. But in a team, every decision has to make sense to someone else. So you are not just writing code anymore, you are writing the shared understanding. And the second difference is the maintainability. When it's in your personal app, you can hack everything to make it work today. But in production, you have to write code which your team can maintain for years, for long term, not just something that works right now. So you are building an app from quick hacks to sustainable code. And the third difference is the feature complexity. In a personal app, features are mostly simple. But in production, everything changes. You have more complicated features like payment, like you have to do the event tracking, which means you have more third-party dependencies like Firebase, Mixpanel, or AppsFlyer, something like that. So you are building an app from simple ideas to real-world complexity. So making architecture decision is never easy, right? In production, architecture is not just about the elegance. It is all about survival. It is about how we manage complexity, how we avoid regressions, and how we onboard new teammates without fear. And that's why we started to looking seriously at TCA. So let me share our experience. All right, so why we choose TCA? Here are 3 big reasons. The first reason is the maintainability because of the composable modules. Features in production app become messy really fast. But with reducers, we can break the features into small pieces. And each piece has its own logic. It is reusable, it is testable, and of course it is composable. So it won't interfere each other. That means engineer can work on different parts at the same time without running into conflict. And the second reason, which I think is the most important one, is having a shared mental model. TCA's core idea is the unidirectional data flow, 单一事件流. So that means everyone on the team can see the same picture. So when you look at the code, it is very clear. The view sends an action to the reducer, then the state changes, and the view updates. Even with some side effect, like API calls, we can still see the result come back as an action into a reducer again. So everything is expected. There's no guessing and no surprises. And the second benefit of shared mental model is that the new member can learn and understand the code base faster. Even code reviews get more easier because we all speaking the same language, right? So the discussion focuses more on the problem, not on trying to understand how the code even works. And the third reason is the testability. In production, things change all the time. So TCA makes it safer. The side effects are clear, and TCA gives you so many useful testing tools for you to write unit tests. So it makes the app more reliable and safer from surprises later. But of course, TCA is not magic. We all knew that there would be a learning curve or some setup cost when you adopting TCA in your app. So first, every architecture comes with the trade-off. So there's no single right or wrong answer here. You've probably heard about the questions about TCA before, like the learning curve is way too steep, or there's just too much boilerplate code, or isn't it just over-engineering for most of the apps? And honestly, they are all fair concerns. And after about like 5 months using TCA in Vocus production app, I think we have some answers to those questions. So, what we actually learned from TCA? The first learning is that the learning curve is steep, but for us, I think it is not as steep as you might think. And yes, the initial learning cost is really high because you have to learn what is the reducer, what is scope, side effect, dependencies. But once you get over that learning phase, it really pays off because the team can move faster and you can refactor in a safer way, and onboarding is more smoother than ever. So for us, that is a trade-off which is worth making. And if you want to learn TCA, it is much more easier than it used to be. Like these days, there are more and more free learning resources available. You don't even need to subscribe to Point Free to learn TCA. For example, if you are in Taiwan, everyone knows Yisan Huang, and he has a fantastic free YouTube series that walks through the whole TCA in a very friendly way. And actually, I realized that for most of the experienced developers like you guys, it was much easier than picking up a brand new feature from Apple's WWDC videos. And by the way, I think Twist is much more complicated than learning TCA. So the learning curve is steep, but not as steep as you might think. And our second learning is more code at first and faster progress later. At first, TCA might look like it needs a lot of code to get started, which is true, because you have to define the state, the actions, reducers, the view, And for some people, that feels like overkill for a simple feature. But in our team, we built a snippet that helps us generate everything we need for a new feature, and just in seconds, including the reducer, the view, the state, and the view action between them. So when we need to build a new feature, we don't have to start from scratch. We just use the snippet and modify what we need, and that's it. So more code at first, but faster progress later. And the third learning is the testing happens naturally. We are not suddenly become more disciplined. It is just because the testing became easier and more natural thanks to TCA's testing support. So with TCA, the test flow is very clear. The first step is arrange, right? So in TCA, we set up a test store, and then we send an action to that reducer, which is a test store. And the third step, we check the state mutation after the action sent into the reducer. So this simple pattern lower the barrier so much. So we just write in unit tests naturally. And not only for unit tests, we also use snapshot testing for data translation. And in the future, we plan to snapshot the shared UI component as well. So we tested more just because it was easy, so it happens naturally. And the fourth learning is twist makes scaling module effortless. We currently have like 25 to 30 modules in our code base. It seems a lot, but twist makes scaling modules very easy. When we need a new module, we simply run the twist scaffold with our predefined template. This creates a consistent module structure instantly. And then we use the twist edit to configure the dependency and build settings for lab modules. And finally, we use twist generate to compose everything we need together into a S-code project. And for us, the best thing about twist is how fast it makes when we create a new module. So in the past, adding a new module was a lot of ceremony. You had to edit the project file, you had to add target and tweak some build settings. It took a lot of time. But now with twist, it is literally just one command and the module is ready. And everything is defined in Swift code, not YAML. So it is also easy to understand and read. So everyone on the team can understand what's going on. So like what we said, even we have like 25 modules in our code base, they are never a burden because twist makes scaling modules effortless. And our next learning is the composable modules makes everything really fast. For example, in our project, we have like a login module for sign up, sign in, and onboarding process. And we have a design system module, which is for shared UI component, and a content card module for handling some complex interaction on our article card. So when we need to modify the login flow, we only have to work inside the login module, so which is really fast. And let me show you another real-world scenario, which is the design discussion. And the photo was actually just taken 2 weeks ago. It was me sitting next to our designer, and we are discussing the UI button padding in different devices. So during the discussion, the designer and I could literally sitting side by side, and we opened the Swift UI preview for building only for that module and fine-tune the design together in real time. So because the module was isolated, so you don't need to build and run the whole app, the build and feedback loop was extremely fast, so making the collaboration much smoother and much more productive. And not only for faster, composable module also make previews reliable. Like what QCL just said before. If you tried Swift UI before, you probably seen something like this. When you put Swift UI views and the external dependencies like Firebase in the same module, then your Switch UI preview may be crashed. But when you separate the Switch UI view from those dependencies, the preview not only runs faster, but also avoid those crashes entirely. So it makes the preview not only faster, but also reliable. And our last learning is, when we ran into problems, most of the challenges came from Switch UI, not from TCA. So things like the reuse behavior of Switch UI list, or some rendering performance in complex views or complex animations. And to be honest, it was frustrating at that moment. But I think it is part of working with Switch UI today. So like what we said, there is no single right answer here. Switch UI gives us huge wins in development speed, the consistency, and the maintainability. But when you need pixel-perfect performance on complex interaction, maybe you have to use the UI kit. So there are always trade-offs between using Switch UI or not. You might ask, should I use TCA in my project? So here are some suggestions for you. The first suggestion is to make sure TCA is a good fit to your product. At least for now, TCA really comes alive when you use it with Switch UI. So if your current app is still UI kit heavy, it might not be the right time yet, but that is totally okay. But if you are starting a new project or a new feature, or you're already using Switch UI in your app, then TCA can be a strong choice in that environment. And my second suggestion is to learn by building something small. So don't just jump into and try to rewrite your whole app. Instead, you can start with a simple side project, maybe even something personal. It gives you more space and time to explore what TCA can do for you, and without pressure. And once you've done something, you can even share your work with others. And there's a showcase discussion on the TCA's official GitHub repo where people post their works. So I actually shared my first TCA project there 1.5 years ago. And it was just a small project, but it gave me all the foundation that I need when I move on to the production app. And my next suggestion is to cultivate your own best practice. So don't just try to copy TCA by the book. Try it, refine it, and make it fit to your team and product. And sometimes the right tool might not be TCA at all. Like Point3 has many useful tools like the Swift sharing for sharing state management or Swift dependency for dependency management. What matters is to find the best practice that truly fit your team and your product. So, if you are curious about TCA, the best way to find out if TCA works for you or not is really simple. To start small and build something and see what you learn along the way. And that's been one of the biggest lessons from my years working with TCA in my career. So that's all for my sharing today, and thanks for listening, and I'll be happy to hear your story after the talk. Thank you so much.